Welcome to Going For A Take, and in today's episode we are talking about Thunderbolts. I am Matt.
I'm Ben.
Hello, I'm Olly. How's it going?
And today I'm pretty much interviewing because I've not had time to see Thunderbolts. I'm currently in a show at the moment, so I'm going to be facilitating this discussion today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very formal, very serious.
So unprofessional, Matt.
Ollie, usually you have a nice little breakdown for us, so what was Thunderbolts about?
So, after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of antiheroes must go on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. It follows a group of misfits led by Florence Pugh's Yelena, Belova, and Sebastian Stan's Bucky.
I think you have to do it in the accent to be able to pronounce it.
As they learn to work together as a team for once and finally are unveiled as the new Avengers in the MCU.
Damn.
What do we think, Ben? Obviously, Matt, you've not seen it, so...
I think the trailer looks great.
Yeah, the trailer
yeah.
was amazing. Whoever's in charge of trailers in Marvel are phenomenal at their job.
What did I think of it? I don't know. So the thing that I felt going into it was, I love Marvel. You know, growing up, Marvel was the shit. Like literally, yeah. I remember after high school watching Endgame.
Not literally.
Well, yeah, technically.
When
not.
were you born, Ben?
2003.
Oh my God, you were 5 years old when Iron Man came out.
How old were you?
Wait,
6 or 7? 6 or 7.
5 years old when what?
When the first MCU film.
What,
came
Iron
out.
Man?
Yeah.
When did Iron Man? come?
2008.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, well.
Man.
Wow, I was at least 20 by then. I can't remember.
How old are you now? 42?
yeah, no.
Damn.
Celebrating your
Good for your
50th
age.
birthday at
Thank
the
you.
weekend,
Yeah,
aren't
good
you?
genes.
Go
Yeah.
on.
I thought I didn't have high expectations because I felt like I'd been let down a lot by Marvel recently.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the last film, the Red Hulk one,
Captain
Brave
America,
New World.
Brave New World, yeah.
Because I was just like, it's over 2 hours, and is it gonna be good? I don't know. I felt like after Endgame there really was like a step down. I felt like it was understandable because when you release the quality of work that Endgame was and how it affected people, and like it took over a decade to get to that point, and then you wait and you watch it and you're like, wow, this is incredible, it's really good. And then after that it's just not the best.
It feels like after it, I'm trying to even think, were there Marvel series, you know, within that sort of MCU like universe, were there series already before that, or it was only really after it, and Disney Plus and all the series that kind of got churned out after?
Yeah, so they had a load of series that sort of... So basically, they had a rule that the films were allowed to affect the series were never allowed to affect the films in a big way. So in the series, they'd make reference to like the Battle of New York when the Avengers is set, and like reference to things that are happening in the films, and they have to adhere to those rules of the universe. But because not as many people watch the series as watch the films, the series were never allowed to have a massive world-ending event that would actually affect the world.
Yeah.
The films.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why aren't the Avengers just showing up in the series? It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Like the Eternals, and also, they're just gods, and
people just miss too much, which I think is the issue that they ran into in the last 4 years since Endgame, is they shifted their focus to boost Disney Plus so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
made
have to like consume so many other different like
they made the series so important to the universe that it then fell apart because it's impossible for everyone to keep track of everything.
Did you not feel like they were just churning stuff out for the sake of getting stuff out there?
Yeah, a little bit. I think they were trying to balance fan service whilst also trying to boost Disney Plus numbers. I think like it felt a bit like they read reviews and comments on videos of fans going, oh, I really want a story surrounding this character, and they went, okay, let's do it, when actually there wasn't actually that much substance there.
And it definitely feels like with the films they were always really good, or at least like above like a 7 out of 10 or whatever. And
like they were always a good
went
time
into the series, and they felt like there was maybe less creative control over it, which meant that it just peaked and troughed. Like you didn't have any. Sometimes it was great, like Daredevil, like the new series. It's still pretty good, but again, there's just some episodes where it like really dips, and you're just like, what? Where's this going? Is it just because there's lack of an overarching, like, I don't know, like the higher ups being able to control like what is coming out to make sure it's all
well
good?
Now I don't know how it's working because they introduced all the multiverse stuff, so I don't know if all the TV shows are like taking place in a completely different universe to the films.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I don't.
like Daredevil. Everyone's like, why is Spider-Man not here?
Yeah, like it just. I don't. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with it at the moment.
Yeah,
It
there was
feels
too
like-
much going on.
Yeah,
Like, as soon as Doctor Strange came out, and it's like, oh, there's infinite universes and infinite characters, and the Fantastic Four are back, and you're like, but why are they back?
yeah.
And why have they
But
got
even
them
then,
killed like that?
This film is quite good. I quite liked it. It was
Yeah,
good fun.
yeah.
Does
It
it
was.
tie into the series then?
No, this one. To be honest, I reckon you could watch it pretty much standalone.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
The characters, you don't need to have seen like Black Widow or Ant-Man and the Wasp to like know who these people are.
No,
You're just
no.
kind of you kind of introduced to them from the get-go and in the film standalone, which works. It's like they kind of went, okay, we know we're going to go back to our roots a bit and do what we know works and like focus on these characters and just introduce them as if it's a new audience and start from scratch. These are the new Avengers. These are the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
It's
Do
a
they
good
call
time.
themselves the new Avengers in it?
So the official
You'll have to
title
watch it and find out.
Hopefully, day off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Finally, so maybe I will.
the official title is like Thunderbolts Asterisk, and then they re-released like all the posters and that with an asterisk, the new Avengers.
I thought that was so smart. Marketing wise, the film's had its hype. It's come out. The hype after the first few days, it goes, and then boom, they've changed the title, and people are like, what? The new Avengers? What's that? And when you think of the Avengers, you think of all these guys and girls with these powers who like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, really cool powers. And then the Thunderbolts or the new Avengers, it's just like, they don't really have much powers. They're just all strong and
They're
really
all just
skilled.
super soldiers from
Yeah.
various- yeah.
I wanted to talk about the villain arc of this film, because I felt like this film in particular, it didn't follow the basic route of what Marvel have done with their previous films of the villain being, oh, he's the bad guy, we need to get rid of the bad guy. This guy, for me personally, you felt like you wanted to root for him, even though he was on paper seen as the bad guy.
Cool. More like an anti-hero?
Yeah, in a way. And I feel when I was watching it at first, you're like, there's no way this guy can be the bad guy. This guy's too nice.
Who plays the bad guy?
Bob
Yeah.
in Top Gun. Lewis Pullman.
Who
I haven't seen Top Gun.
is incredible. I thought he was incredible in that film. He had so much depth to his work. One of the things was, for me, this film, I found it quite triggering, his character, because the whole villain arc of the story was based on mental health. So he got like the super soldier serum that like Captain America had, but he got it and they were like, this guy's way too unstable. He was traveling in Southeast Asia. He had all different mental health issues. And on paper, they were like, if this guy has powers, he's going to be too unstable to control them because of his mental health issues. And then that unravels, and the dark side of his mental health almost takes over.
Wow, very cool.
The entire thing is like an allegory for mental health and depression and self-worth and your relationship with your physical properties as a person, of like what you can offer to the world, and that being tied to your self-worth and all of that. It's probably one of the deepest stories that Marvel have ever done.
Oh, for sure.
And had it not been a superhero film, it could have been a really interesting exploration of that. But I think because it was a superhero film, I think it got lost a little bit by the end, because it kind of just, it's fixed, done.
Yeah, they have to wrap it up in
Yeah,
some sort
like
of
it's-
superhero ending.
It's like, okay, never mind. And it kind of happens for all of them as well. And the way that they sort of tell the story of overcoming all of these mental health issues is you go into the void and you're presented with a load of rooms that are like showing you flashbacks from your past and things that are affecting you and potential triggers and things like that. And you have to like basically break it down before you can move on out of that room. But they do it in a very physical, punchy, fighty way. But metaphor for
Go and
therapy,
fight
I
your
guess,
demons and
like,
fight
Yeah.
talking something through with somebody and breaking down each situation before you're able to move on from it and recover from it.
Bit like an Inside Out, but Marvel version.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It almost
Yeah.
reminded me of, there's a game I played in rehearsals ages ago for a show, and it was about finding triggers. And it's also in a book. I can't remember what the book's called now, but
Finding triggers for yourself or the character?
Finding triggers for yourself to use for the character. And it's about going into like visualizing your house growing up, going into each room and just seeing what comes up when you go into each room. You might have a memory from your time in the kitchen, your time in the bedroom. It could be a happy memory, it might not be, but you just explore the house now in your mind and seeing how that affects you, and just seeing how it develops the more you focus on it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be finding triggers that are gonna negatively affect you. It could be, I had a really nice Christmas dinner with my mum and my nan at this table, and then it brings that memory back up and that feeling. The Void felt like that to me. They go through these different rooms, experiencing different things in different times in their life. But the overarching theme of it was overwhelming, how overwhelming it was. It was very much, this is too much. And the more overwhelming it got, the more chaotic the room got, the more things started to become distorted. Chairs started moving. It became more dangerous. But when it was just, a good memory, it was tranquil, it was calm. It was a very intriguing way of discovering the backstory of a villain. I was holding myself back. I was like, I am not saying it this episode. Say it then.
That's really cool. Did it explore how, so when you're talking about how the more triggering the memory was, the more chaotic that it seemed to be and the more distorted it got?
Yeah.
Did they look into how, so say like I have a memory of something that, bad that happened, and then I actually talked to other people about it who were there at the time, and they go, that's not what happened. But yeah, do they look into how memories do become distorted and they're no longer facts? They're just a narrative that have become murky as time has gone on.
Yeah, I think they do.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
I don't think it did. It doesn't show the distortion of memories over time. Like, it just presents them as, this is what happened in his life, and this is why he's now the way he is. But he can work his way through it with his friends.
By punching it.
By punching it. Cool. Not always punching it, but breaking down the situation, and just sometimes that's in a physical way. Other times it's literally just accepting it. Yeah. And then you get passed on and you can just move past it.
Cool.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree. I think as well, I felt like the deeper the memory got, the more backstory you started to understand. And I felt like with Lewis Pullman's character, Sentry, it was very much understanding why. So, because that's what made him not the on paper villain.
Yeah. What else has he been in? Because I've obviously seen his face on trailers and stuff, but I don't recognize him for anything. So
I remember I read something recently that I've not seen much of his work, but I saw him audition. He got close to playing Homelander or someone. It might not be Homelander,
cool.
But it was that sort of character. Yeah.
Sick.
I might be wrong. Fact check me if I'm wrong.
So I will look at that in a second. But he's done Top Gun Maverick, Lessons in Chemistry, Salem's Lot, Bad Times at the El Royale, The Strangers, The Starling Girl.
I've seen that.
Riff Raff, Outer Range. He's not done that much. He's only been working, it looks like, since around 2016-ish.
No.
Pretty cool.
But
that's pretty sick. It's kind of similar for the director. I was having a look at his credits as well. Jake, I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Schreier? Not sure. Yeah. Schreier. Anyway, but he's directed a lot of music videos, and he did Beef as well, which is sick. I don't know if you guys saw that. Stephen Yeun.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I saw episode 1.
It's so good. You're definitely worth giving it a watch. But yeah, a lot more music videos, a couple of features, and then obviously he's gone huge with this. So yeah, I'd be interested to find out what how you pitch a project to Marvel after having only like a few.
A similar thing happened with Ryan Coogler and the Black Panther films. He'd not done a lot. And then he landed 2 of the biggest films and highest grossing films in the franchise.
I swear.
What are you saying?
An incentive initiative.
What are you saying to Kevin Feige that's making
I don't know. Hadn't he worked with Michael B. Jordan on a film before that as well? Yeah.
Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, I thought he'd done quite a bit before Black Panther.
Nothing that was major.
His big like blockbusters.
Yeah.
His directing career only exploded from Black Panther,
Yeah.
and that was in 2018.
Oh wow.
Before then, so he'd done Creed,
Yeah.
right, and he'd done Fruitvale Station, but that's pretty much it.
Oh wow.
So
I mean, Creed was a very, very big franchise, I'd say.
well, yeah, but again, it's just a pre-existing franchise. How the fuck do you land that when you've not really done much else? But I guess they bring something new, something fresh, something that an established director hasn't done yet.
I feel like Marvel particularly shines whenever they look into a superhero that is less of like, you know, it is actually really difficult to now think about superheroes that, what were the original ones that were the big ones? Like back in the day with the comics and stuff like that. Because I remember looking into it and like Captain America and all that kind of stuff. Iron Man were like less, they were kind of like the sort of side heroes. Well,
the MCU was started because they didn't have rights to all the big characters, so they had to develop all these like B characters.
And like then, Sony had them all.
Yeah, and then they've all of a sudden
become like, hey, the main Sony, ones. Can we buy it back?
Yeah, literally. Like it was Spider-Man, X-Men, Superman, Batman. They were all the main ones. Obviously, that's DC as well. But
what's your favorite superhero film?
Favorite of all time?
Yeah, only including Marvel.
Only Marvel.
Yeah, it includes the Sony Marvel films as well.
Maybe
I'm going to say the first Iron Man. I think it's the strongest standalone. You don't have to have watched anything else beforehand because it is the first one. Because like the actual answer is probably like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War or something like that. But for that to hit as hard as it did, you have to have that 10-year history of all the characters. But just film out of context, Iron Man.
I think one of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films. I don't know which one though.
Cool. What about you, Max?
Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi.
Nice, good choice. Yeah. Strong. Wait, is that the one? No, he's not got the Venom. He's not doing the.
No, it's Doc Ock, isn't it, this one? That's Doc Ock. Yeah, it's the Doc Ock one.
Oh, Alfred Molina. Yeah. He's so good in it. I just love the X-Men films. The original. X-Men Last Stand. It's just so cheesy. But it's just like, in chess, the pawns go first. And he's just throwing his little like fireballs. I'm like, cool.
Which is the one where Jean Grey gets taken over by Dark Phoenix?
Last Stand.
Yeah, I thought that one was
Dark Phoenix, isn't it?
Well, so Jean Grey's is also in the third X-Men film.
I can't keep.
Yeah,
track.
the X-Men films were great.
Fake fan.
X-Men
before his time, Max. It was before his time.
Yeah. Same.
I was 30 when that came out.
I was somewhere in the ether.
Yeah.
Anyway, wait. Back to Thunderbolts. We're going off course. A lot of people are saying this is the best film since Endgame in the MCU.
Wow. Okay.
Thoughts, Ben?
Well, since Endgame, what films have there been? I thought Black Panther 2 was very good.
That has to be up there.
Since Endgame?
Nah, that was after.
I've mainly just been watching the series.
I thought I like the Moon Knight series. That was good with Oscar Isaac. And the Loki one.
There's been WandaVision, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, She-Hulk, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, Spider-Man No Way Home, Ms. Marvel, Werewolf by Night, Loki, Eternals, Moon Knight, Thor Love and Thunder, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I'd probably say Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Or
you think that was the best one?
Since Endgame.
Interesting.
Either Black Panther or what's it called?
Your face.
The Spider-Man one. I thought the Spider-Man one was very good.
I don't know if Max is going to cut to a clip of me in that edit. But yeah, listening to all the names of those, I was just like, nothing really. It felt like all of them felt way more colourful and formulaic than, there were some like little standouts in there, but all of them were more formulaic than the Marvel films that happened beforehand. I don't know if that was just because I was used to the formula. So anything that came after, I was like, I know what's going to happen.
I completely left out Phase 5. You've had then Ant-Man and the Wasp, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and then Thunderbolts.
There's a lot.
I like Shang-Chi.
Do we think... Yeah, Shang-Chi was good.
Good.
I think this is the best film since Endgame.
Why? What separates it from the others?
Because it's more of a... Is
it less predictable?
Not less predictable. It's just a more interesting character study. Like from the get-go, it's talking about the main themes of the film, about feeling unsatisfied with your life and finding purpose and feeling like you don't actually have that much to offer the world. and like how depression can a lot of the time manifest itself in just completely neutral boredom with everything.
Oh yeah.
Like you're not sad,
But you're not.
but you're
happy.
never happy.
You're
sad,
just, but you're never happy.
Yeah, you're just like
Like in a
completely
state of
neutral.
limbo.
Nothing affects you.
Is it kind of looking into just the absurdity of like everything and how actually is it a bit existential? If you're talking about how they're trying to find purpose when actually the things that they do never really have much of an impact.
Yeah, which I feel like is a really good allegory for the entirety of the MCU. Like,
Savage.
it's like they've just released this film and oh my god, the world's going to end, and then actually no, it's fine. It just didn't affect the world at all, did it? Didn't
Everyone
affect
Quite
just
like
the
came
US.
back.
But sort of like self-knowing. I like that.
But yeah, like this film, like I feel like it stands alone, and it works as a character study, and like it was fun. David Harbour's having the time of his life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
He was
They were just
loving
having
it.
fun. They're jumping
Yeah.
off buildings and
Like-
having a great time.
What's
The ensemble like? Like, is there a clear like chemistry between all of them?
Oh yeah, I think so. I feel like they all, like, you can tell that they're friends. Like you can see the chemistry between them, and it's quite strong. But I also feel like they must have taken so long to get that, because if they don't have that in this film, then I don't think this film would be the same. Because the whole idea is it's trying to rebrand for the next wave of, you know, the Doctor Doom films. This is the setup for that. And it feels like every Marvel film is a
This
setup
is
for
the
them.
setup for which film? Sorry.
For
Avengers Doomsday.
yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But I feel like, in a way, I mean, it's not really criticism because it's quite smart, but every Marvel film feels like it's setting up the next one. It never feels like it's its own standalone film. It feels like, oh yeah, this happens, but then this is going to happen. And then they go,
Well, yeah, but that I feel like that's only ever explored in the post-credit scenes most of the time.
I don't know.
Like,
but in
like
this
yeah,
film,
there'll be nods. Like, yes, they've been unveiled as the new Avengers, but that could like
I feel that's
you
a
don't-
pretty big nod though.
Yeah, but it's not like a direct. This is now what's going to happen in the next film. Like it's just a.
Is it not really?
I don't think so. I think it works. On
Them
its own.
being
If you
unveiled
watch-
to the public about being the new Avengers, that to me feels like, oh, these guys are going to be the guys that are going to protect the world. Find out next time what happens.
Well,
To be continued, which is always
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
comics
yeah.
at the bottom.
Oh,
The
yeah.
little writing,
yeah, okay.
which I can kind of get behind.
Yeah.
I mean,
I accept that.
are there anything else that like stood out about the film to you guys?
I wanted to bring it back to the point you made whilst we're on it about depression, and how the film explores that through the contrast between Lewis Pullman's character from when he's just Bob to when he becomes Sentry, because they're almost two polar opposites to each other. And I feel like the film does a very good job of exploring how depression can be. It's not, you know, if you've like never experienced it, you could see it as you're just sad all the time. But as you were saying, you're not. It's almost in a state of limbo where you don't really feel much, and you want to feel more, but you can't, and you don't really know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
And what this character does is it shows you the two extreme opposites. One side being that no one loves me, I can't fall back to anybody. I'm worthless. And then it goes to the other extreme end of that of being like, everybody like hates me. You think things about other people that they're probably not even thinking. And everything looks bleak and dark, and there's no escape. And they do that through like the shadow when it crosses New York City. I felt like that to me was a metaphor of how depression can not just impact you but the people around you. I'd never thought I'd go on in a Marvel film and cry, but it did a very good job of showing that, I think, and it showed it in a way which, you know, there are films that show it in a completely different way. Like Manchester by the Sea is a very good example of a film that shows depression and other mental health conditions in a completely different light. But this film shows it in a way which gives a different audience. You know, you can't watch Manchester by the Sea when you're 12, really.
Yeah.
but you could watch this film when you're 12.
Okay.
I have one last question before we wrap up. Do we reckon the MCU's back? Do you think it's back on track? Matt, you can't answer this. Ben.
Yeah.
No, I'm so sold on going to see the film tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think it's back? I hope so. I really do, because if it's back, then it'll give so many good memories like it did when Endgame was about. I remember waiting after school when it came out and everyone booked tickets and we're like, we'd go into town as teenagers, exploring town at a young age, being like, oh, this is all exciting. And then Endgame's on and you're like, fuck, I've been waiting 4 years for this. Then when it's part 1 and then part 2 comes out and you're like, a year later, fuck, this is sick. I hope it's back because that inner kid in me would love it.
Yeah.
I don't think this film alone does enough to prove it's back, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I think it's definitely given me a sense of optimism for the future.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Fantastic Four film. I'm excited for the next Avengers films.
Which is the next film? Is it
Fantastic
Four?
Fantastic Four in July.
July the 26th,
Oh, wow,
I
it's
believe.
soon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you for the next episode where we're talking with
Lloyd R. Morgan. Sorry.
Lloyd R. Morgan, the director.
Spoilers.
Catch you next time.
Take
Peace.
care.
Adios.
Good.